You guys like stuff. You like things. Do you live for the things? Do you get giddy whenever there's a new product to buy, when there's money to spend? Like, oh, thank God that there's something to buy with this money, this fake, hyperinflated, devalued, 90% non-physical, meaning it only exists on computer screens, money, 22% of which was just magicked into existence last year, which is a topic for another time. This money, it was just burning a hole in my pocket. There's just this empty space in my soul that I just gotta cram full of whatever the TV's selling me. So the cultural phenomena that we will be discussing today are consumerism and materialism, which I'm just going to be throwing together like a non-existent Webkinz recipe and present as our obsession with the purchasing and owning of things. Things that we do not need, that we simply use as status symbols, things that in most cases we cannot actually afford. So we pay for them with credit, which is money that's even more fake than the very fake money. Or we actually buy these things with money, but we still cannot actually afford them. We do not have enough money to comfortably own these things, so we live paycheck to paycheck. Not out of necessity, but by choice, because we choose to fill our lives with these useless things. This is what we're going to be discussing today. The world we live in has always been trying to get us to spend money. And we are inducted into this money spending system as time goes on at an earlier and earlier age. What's up, little buddy? Let's do some reading from the brands we know. Yeah, you want to get marketed to while you literally learn how to read, so you can very quickly pair your very existence in this world with the consumption of products. See, these companies make money when we spend money, obviously, which luckily for them, we are more than willing to do. We spend money like we don't know that not spending money is also an option, which means that even when someone betters themselves financially, when they start making more money, in many cases, they don't become less poor. They become just as poor, but with more stuff. This is the only time in human history where someone can have difficulty making ends meet and putting food on the table, but somehow they still have all these unnecessary material possessions. Somehow they still have a brand new iPhone and a $300 pair of shoes. Almost as if feigning wealth and status via luxury items is somehow more important than actually being financially well off, than actually being wealthy. Wealthy. This is the mindset that so many of us have. This is the mindset that our culture teaches us. And it started with keeping up with the Joneses. Your neighbor buys a new car, so you buy a new car. They buy a new TV, so you buy a new TV. We are always comparing ourselves to other people, and we often use the people around us as a benchmark to see how well we are doing. But that's, of course, just our perception. You don't actually know how much money your neighbor makes or how much money's in their bank account, unless you do know that, but that's besides the point. All you know, in most cases, is the car that's parked in their driveway. And it's easy to assume that if someone has a more expensive house or a nicer car or a newer iteration of the same piece of technology, that they're somehow better off than you. Or rather, it was a lot easier to assume that back in the day, back when people actually owned the things they have possession of. But now, with so much free credit, in so many cases, people don't actually own the homes they live in. They don't own the cars they drive. And no matter how much they are struggling to afford those things, they still give off the perception of wealth because they have those things. And to make things worse, because of the internet and social media, people are not just comparing themselves to the people in their direct vicinity, they're comparing themselves to literally everyone with internet access. So you take this non-productive, one-upping, gotta look as well off as mentality that you apply to your neighbors, the Joneses, and then you make everyone the Joneses. This is, of course, where we get our modern obsession with status symbols. Designer clothes, shoes, watches, chains, fast cars, crowbars. The crowbar gets a pass because that one's funny, but you gotta wonder how much money people spend every year on things that are expensive, not because they're of higher quality, but because they're expensive, and with that expensiveness comes the perception of wealth. As the rapper DaBaby says in his song, two-tone AP watch on, never see me use it for a clock. Which, if you look at the prices of these watches, you will more than likely be able to find one that's worth more than your house. Okay, so let me get this straight. So you're telling me you own what is effectively a shiny bracelet worth more than the net worth of most people on the entire planet? No, you don't use it to check the time? What am I supposed to think you're cool? Mr. Doesn't check his watch guy? Same thing goes for all the dudes who buy expensive sports cars, but they can't just drive them. Like, okay, You got a cool car, but why do you have to drive it so obnoxiously? Like, they'll rev the engines anytime there's someone vaguely in earshot, or they'll pull out of the parking lot super fast just to get into the street and then go the speed limit like everybody else. Because no matter how much money you spent on a car, you still have to abide by traffic laws. It's not like you just got a fast pass at Disneyland, which, by the way, you know there are adults that go to Disneyland by themselves, like without kids? Again, a topic for another time, but they spend all this money just so that other people have the perception that they have a lot of money. And at the end of the day, you can spend $250,000 on a car that could be completely ruined just by an edgy 14-year-old and a key. Oh, or you could also buy a $300 t-shirt with a logo on it. It is a t-shirt of mediocre quality on which the company is literally advertising itself. You are paying money to advertise for a company that in many cases is already spending more on advertisements than it spends making the actual product. You know what you could do instead? You could buy a pack of quality unbranded t-shirts for $30 and then buy one of those iron-on design kits for $10. Yeah, let me do some mental math here. These companies are ripping you off and they're flipping you off while they do it. Unless they're selling you a crowbar, in which case that is a completely honorable and respectable transaction. See, back in the day, you used to pay good money for things because you knew they were of high quality and they would last forever. But that's not the case anymore. There no longer truly exists a causal relationship between an item's cost and its quality. And that's because people don't want to buy quality things. They want to buy expensive things, and companies know this. So they don't make quality things. They make expensive things. They make expensive things that are designed to fail or be completely obsolete extremely prematurely. This is referred to as planned obsolescence, which is effectively the standard practice of every tech company. There is no reason to make a phone or a car that lasts forever when your customer is just going to upgrade it to the next new shiny thing in a year or two, which is exactly what companies want you to do because it's a lot more profitable. You could sell a company, that's the thing, or a company could sell you a phone once every 10 to 15 years, or they can sell you a new phone whenever you want to upgrade. Which means in the long run, the phone company makes way more money. You can also do this thing in your marketing called perceived obsolescence, where you incrementally upgrade the technology of the product while also updating the style. So even though the old product is functionally almost identical to the new one has a brand new aesthetic. So the old one looks like garbage, which is something these companies have convinced us is completely normal. And we as consumers have 100% embraced it. So no one makes their products to last anymore because we are children. We get a brand new shiny toy and a day later we've moved on to the next thing. We have also become conditioned to be constantly barraged with these things that we can buy. We are constantly being sold to at all times. There almost exists no space that is truly ad-free. The media we consume is becoming more and more saturated with product placements to the point that you can't have a movie these days without what is effectively a mid-roll ad. And it's not like a movie is ruined by a simple purchasable product being on the screen. Like, I honestly don't care that Tobey Maguire is web shooting a Dr. Pepper can instead of a generic prop soda can. But bro, can we get a break? Please, for just a moment? No, you can't. There is literally nowhere you can go that is safe from the product placements. You think I'm joking? That corn man is holding a Sprite cranberry. Have you noticed? Because it's been there the whole time. Do you ever rewatch an old movie that you used to watch as a kid and wonder how the media and the product placements in it might have affected the way you think, the way you see the world, the way you spend money? Because I am 100% convinced that I like sweet potato pie and Converse, and I'm paranoid of technology because of iRobot, a movie that I watched religiously as a child. Now, I am, of course, prone to paranoid thoughts, probably because of Will Smith movies. So take that with a grain of salt, but the point still stands. You gotta pay attention to the things that are being shown to you on your screeny boys, because they're gonna try to tell you what you want. But it doesn't matter what we want. Once we get it, we want something else. That was an applicable quote from some dude whose first name was Lord, so he probably knows what he's talking about. People seem to seriously have their priorities out of whack, because they're completely willing to throw away all humanity for a slightly better than average sale. Or, when given the option of either living in a safe, cohesive community or some brand new, fresh products, they'll take the products. Like literally take them. But I seriously think these people have been programmed into making the acquiring of material things into their prime motivator. So much so that they will try to flex their lack of kids and therefore their ability to indulge themselves in their self-centered materialistic lifestyles. Which I promise you will eventually catch up to these people, because there will be a day that they wake up and realize that they have all this stuff, all of this meaningless, useless stuff, but they don't actually have anybody that cares about them. Because when you get too focused in the material, this is going to sound a little fruity, when you get too focused in the material, you will inevitably lose track of the things that can actually hold value forever. Because things are lost, things are broken, things are stolen, houses burn down, banks fail, currencies fail. The only place that you can truly store value forever is in your big brain, aka the things you know and the skills you acquire, and in your relationships with other people, aka other people's big brains. Just think about that one. I'ma buy me a Beamer and the Supreme shirt, iced out gold chains till my bones hurt. Tell you I'm afraid every product is a prey. Pain, pain, please just go away. Self-esteem in a price tag and in a tote bag. LV buying everything I see advertised to me till all the cash out. It's a grenade, but I'll probably never pay. Thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. @Badanlaw on Instagram and Twitter. I will see you later.